What's good? Thanks for joining me. Osiris here, stuck in the middle. I'm still on politics right now. Andrew Yang was called or labeled a white supremacist candidate. He's been called this before, it's nothing new, but there's a sense of urgency going on right now because he's leading the New York mayoral race. And he is an anti establishment candidate, an Asian American. You know that if he had the exact same proposals, the exact same life, no different, and was just white, they would just come straight out and say Andrew Yang is a white supremacist. But they're not that stupid. They're not that bold to overplay their hand to that point. They'll say he's the candidate of white supremacists. It sounds ridiculous, but let's take a look at the New York Times, how they frame this. Over the last year, New York politics have appeared to lurch ever leftward. First came the primary victories last summer in a series of House and state legislative races, then the legalization of recreational marijuana, and just this week, a state budget agreement that would raise taxes on the wealthy and create a $2.1 billion fund to aid undocumented workers. But in the New York City mayor's race, the two candidates who have most consistently shown strength are the most moderate in the field. They're calling Andrew Yang a moderate. These labels don't mean anything. If somebody labels somebody as whatever, even if it's from me, like I label somebody as establishment or progressive or whatever, you don't take that for anything. Go find out what their policies are. This is a man who is most well known for promoting a universal basic income, which is not some type of moderate position. And he's moderate in some areas, left in others. He's his own guy. I wouldn't even label him. So sort of like Tulsi Gabbard. They believe in different things, but they are principled. When you're principled, you might be conservative on things, some things libertarian on others, and left on different things like that. Alessandra Biaggi created the tweet that caught my attention with this. She said, "Why are white supremacists excited about Andrew Yang? Given everything that's happened in our country, this seems worth more attention than it's getting." Nice try, Alessandria. Nice try. This tweet reminds me of an older person who tries to use slang that younger people are using. Like, everyone's on this white supremacist thing now. And I think I heard white supremacists like Andrew Yang. Hey, everybody, no one's talking about this. And she gets ratioed and she's getting slaughtered by people who even don't agree with many of Andrew Yang's positions. Because Andrew Yang is a principled guy, you can disagree with him, but there aren't many people who disagree with him and consider him some type of establishment shill or some guy that's not to be trusted. Alessandra posted a link to an article that happened a couple months ago in January this year. They rehashed some quotes of Andrew Yang's to try and reframe them like, oh, this guy's a little iffy for us. Listen to this. Believe it or not, this is the quote. This is part of the quote that makes people wonder about Andrew Yang. Is he for white supremacists? When he gets time in front of people, he catches their attention. And in my opinion, he restores people's faith that there are good people that will run for higher office. He's been on small YouTuber channels. He's been on Fox News. He's been on The Breakfast Club. I said Joe Rogan. He's been on far left progressives. He's been on with MAGA supporters.
You squared that circle for me. I went to your website and damn it, you paid for it. I couldn't believe it. And once I ran those numbers backwards and forwards, you had me, brother. I was all in. And from that day on, I've been, non-officially campaigning for you, but campaigning for you because, damn it, this is what the country is going to need.
If your politician doesn't have the range, or like Elizabeth Warren makes up excuses as to why they can't even go on Fox News, which is an establishment right, it's not even a risky decision. If they don't have the range to go on the #1 hip hop show, and then also with a MAGA channel, you have the wrong politician. You're supporting a clown if they can't do that. You see Tulsi Gabbard goes on with a lot of people. So you look back at Alessandra Biaggi's quote. This is what Charles Barkley was talking about. This is exactly what he was talking about. Why are white supremacists excited about Andrew Yang? This is Miss Biaggi. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Miss Biaggi dividing us based on race. Nice try. People aren't falling for this stuff as much as they used to. It's funny. Alessandra Biaggi is an establishment Democrat who worked for Hillary Clinton and Joe Crowley. Her grandfather represented the same district that she's a New York State senator in until he was convicted of corruption. Andrew Yang is a self-made entrepreneur. He's an Asian American, and she's implying that he is the candidate of white supremacy. This world is, satire is dead. Let's just say that. I have nothing personal against this young lady. I wish her nothing but the success. This is not personal. This is, if you try to divide us based on race, I'm going to speak up and say bullshit. Andrew Yang is imperfect. I was so heated at him in the third Democratic debate from last year. There's 10 of them on the stage. And he came out and he was talking about his UBI and he was going to do his freedom. It's just a universal basic income. He calls it the freedom dividend or whatever. And he announced he was going to do it with 10 families. Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris were laughing at him. Mayor Pete went right after him with the intros, and he was the one that really laughed. Listen to this.
Entrepreneur Andrew Yang.
In America today, everything revolves around the almighty dollar. Our schools, our hospitals, our media, even our government. It's why we don't trust our institutions anymore. We have to get our country working for us again instead of the other way around. We have to see ourselves as the owners and shareholders of this democracy rather than inputs into a giant machine. When you donate money to a presidential campaign, what happens? The politician spends the money on TV ads and consultants, and you hope it works out. It's time to trust ourselves more than our politicians. That's why I'm going to do something unprecedented tonight. My campaign will now give a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for an entire year to 10 American families, someone watching this at home right now. If you believe that you can solve your own problems better than any politician, go to yang2020.com and tell us how $1,000 a month will help you do just that. This is how we will get our country working for us again, the American people.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
It's original, I'll give you that.
I was so heated at Andrew Yang that he didn't have that, for a lack of a better word, that alpha in him to be like, and I'm not into that alpha or whatever stuff, but that stuff, I can get angry. That I would have been heated. Coming from Wall Street, Pete?
By the way, just so you know, Pete Buttigieg is an emblem of pure emptiness and soulless ambition of our ruling class. He is a non-person who substitutes practice mannerisms and fake folksiness for a personality. He wants nothing but power. Don't fall for it.
Because we are for higher wages and the empowerment of workers.
Are you serious now? Are you laughing at me? Are you serious now, Mayor Pete? See, me and you were cool. We didn't have any beef. You thought my idea to try and even out the scales for people who are having a difficult time, to empower them with this freedom dividend. You thought that was funny, $1,000 that really can change people's lives. A new way to look at government, a new way to look at our country, to get people kind of united under that flag. And you have more billionaires supporting you than I knew existed. And you have the audacity to laugh at me? Here are some of the comments from the thread from Alessandra Biaggi. That looks like a hit job to me, Alessandra. Yang can't help who's excited about him, but he definitely isn't a white supremacist. And you're supposed to be progressive. You should love UBI, which is what excites most people about him. There's nothing progressive about her. I'm not familiar with her until I saw this, looked into her. her lineage is establishment. Now, she's smart. Establishment politicians are going to have to pretend to be progressive or populist. They have to succeed in this environment. So an Asian guy, yes, an Asian guy is a white supremacist. Is that really what you're trying to say? Just making it really clear for everyone who listens or follows you. That's really the take you want us to come away from? Is this a Chappelle skit, guys? So she didn't say he was a white supremacist because he's Asian, but that's where she's going with this. Like, it's equally as absurd to say he is the candidate of white supremacy. It makes zero sense. I do think this article needs more attention. Finally, a candidate that really knows how to speak the language of unity, so that white people feel included in a policy that primarily benefits anyone who is impoverished. Poor people unite to end poverty now with UBI. It should be no surprise that the media didn't want to give this guy airtime.
There was a list of candidates and next to your name, it said never to pursue you.
When he got airtime, he didn't disappoint. He didn't toe the company line either.
Democrats don't do a good job of speaking to working class people. What do you say to that? You're supposed to be fixing that.
I had that experience countless times on the trail, Don, where I would say, hey, I'm running for president, to a truck driver, retail worker, a waitress in a diner, and they would say, what party? And I'd say Democrat, and they would flinch. Like I'd said something really negative, or I just had turned another color or something like that. And there's something deeply wrong when working class Americans have that response to a major party that theoretically is supposed to be fighting for them. So you have to ask yourself, what has the Democratic Party been standing for in their minds? And in their minds, the Democratic Party, unfortunately, has taken on this role of the coastal urban elites who are more concerned about policing various cultural issues than improving their way of life that has been declining for years. And so if you're in that situation, this to me is a fundamental problem for the Democratic Party, because if they don't figure this out, then this polarization and division will get worse, not better.
The more people saw of Andrew Yang, the worse for people who didn't want Andrew Yang to do well. We shouldn't treat anyone like a celebrity, of course. I just said this politics thing is business. But people don't realize the power that they have. Why is Donald Trump still relevant to this day after being shunned by everyone, banned on social media, banned everywhere? Corporations pulling out from endorsing him. He's still running the whole GOP party. Why? Because of the people who support him, MAGA. Elon Musk is an establishment billionaire, one of the top 2 richest people in the world. He gets attacked by the establishment on a daily basis. He doesn't do any advertising, doesn't do any PR other than himself on Twitter and Clubhouse a little bit. He's been able to fend off the attacks because he has a strong Tesla Nation and a strong following. Andrew Yang is no different. The same applies to Andrew Yang. I wish him luck in the mayoral race. Yanggang. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Check it out now. Check it out now. This is a necessary change from the grim, simple, and plain. Gonna exercise that brain to break the chain. Pain is a part of game. No need to explain. We innovate to generate an intricately interwoven tapestry, musical and ethical epiphanies. The industry's minimal amount of muscle, listen with the anchor that can take it all the way to where the sun is black. I run a left, I run a ton of tunnel through a simple symbol, a simple sentiment. Adrenaline is coming back. I'm in a minute city with a die to be a superstar. I'd rather be a galaxy, but how you see it so dependent on the medicine and rhetoric and how I'm bending any second. You're thinking as I'm sitting at the brink of this world is all asleep, and I have no apologies. I breathe, keep my side on what we ride on. Let bygones be bygones. The migraines don't sidetrack my final destination. Nothing rivals for determination to exterminate the germination of a nation that accepts anything that's thrown in his fat face. Cause when there's nothing left, there's no more point to the rat race. We don't waste a minute of the day. Don't be offended when I'm saying finish, send it all the way another stage. A creative, alternative, rated and graded, a crazy maniac melody getting all up in your face. Wait, success ain't only based on self-esteem. It takes a sense to differentiate between what's yours and someone else's dreams. I felt the screams climbing up my cold spine, saying now it's time. Gotta give it all my energy to get rid of the enemy and set it so. Here, yeah, here, yeah, yeah. Move it over together now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ready to better kid in the highway and original. Here, yeah, here, yeah.
old thing. Sick of the same old thing. Same old same old same old